At one point or another, every kid growing up asks themselves the question, what's the meaning of life? This convention is about the meaning of life, because Purusharths are human purpose. It's defining what that purpose is for yourself. And getting clarity on that purpose gives you tremendous confidence in living a value-based life that's consistently working toward your goals.
So we sent out surveys in 2015 to figure out what sort of struggles youths are facing today, because those sorts of struggles change year to year. And so we wanted to make sure we had the most up-to-date sense of what issues we wanted to tackle in this convention. And based out of those surveys that were sent to youths across North America, we got a sense of what sort of struggles they were facing today, both in high school and in college, what sort of struggles they were facing during the transitions into high school and into college, and then during those 4 years.
It's been really, really amazing. It's really indescribable. I mean, these conventions have had a really big impact on my life. My first one was NC13, and that's when, since I wasn't born into satsang, that was like my jump start into satsang. So coming back to NC18 this year, it's been like kind of building on that journey and even like stronger connection with the Satpurush through real life practical examples.
So I would say that when we started this planning process between the two conventions, we were accounting for a total of over 5,000 delegates. And when you think of that, that's a large number. So when we started thinking about the logistics and the planning of how all of this was going to take place, that's what we had to take into account, because that number in itself makes such a huge difference in the way things are planned, like luggage, accommodations, travel, food, like just the sheer magnitude of all of that planning all together was kept in mind, knowing the volume of delegates that we were going to get.
So the delegate arrives from the airport to the site itself. They'll get their bags tagged. We scan their QR code. The delegate is able to sort of track where their bag is from the app itself. So as soon as we scan the badge, delegate will get a notification that, hey, your bag was scanned at this location. They come up, they register here. When they register, they also get a notification. Like he said, the group lead will also get a notification that, hey, this delegate has arrived. The group lead will come pick them up. We send them another notification as soon as their accommodations or hotel room keys are ready.
I think the energy that the Garyakers have brought in, I know they're exhausted from planning this, and I've heard the amount of time they've put in, but the energy that they put in, they've been registering kids for hours, and how excited they are that you're here. When they come out, I think you see it's almost like a glow that they're excited to bring joy to other Kishoris, and so that's what I've taken away so far, is the energy that has built up so far.
All right, get ready for Swamina and Tune on my cue. All right, tell me when you're ready. Yeah, good. Swamina and Tune on my cue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swamina and Tune.
Swami Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Swami Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Swami Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Swami Narayan, Narayan, Narayan.
The content, especially the evening program, the programs they've been seeing on stage and the messages that we've been giving to them, it's already really resonating with them. We were actually just having a discussion about it, and I was able to see that they've read more into the material than I've read into it myself. They're able to give me back messages that I didn't even pick up on. They have read into the material so well that they've imbibed it into their lives. Our discussions last longer than I had anticipated, because they're talking about how certain characters resonate with their lives in terms of their relationship with their parents or things they've asked for from their friends or family. And it's great to see that I actually was in the same position as them one day, saying the same things to my group leads, and to be able to see that they're in that position now just helps me feel like we're on the same path.
So the story focuses on 5 main characters, 3 boys and 2 girls. And they're all at different stages in their lives. So one is in high school, 3 are going into college and in that transition period, and one of them is already in college. And so the story focuses on tracking them as they go through these transitions and different struggles that we identified in the survey.
This year's storyline is one that every single delegate that is at the convention can definitely resonate or relate to, because each character represents a different point at which like they are within their spirituality, and whether it's a guy or a girl. And it's something that every single person in the audience would be able to resonate with, because they're all going through different challenges, and each character has a challenge and has a different way that they deal with that challenge or overcome it.
So when I made my life map, some of the most salient moments on that map were these youth conventions. 2000, 2004, 2007, 2013, and this is probably going to go on the map as well. Because what happens at these conventions is you get away from your day-to-day living for 3 or 4 days. You're immersed in an experience with a group of people, and you develop a camaraderie that didn't exist, right? So the day before you come, you don't know who these people are. You don't know where they come from. You don't know their backstories. All of a sudden, within 24 hours, you've made 20, 30, 40, 50 new friends, and you're seeing groups of thousands of people who have shared experiences and shared difficulties and shared struggles, and you can come here and you can talk about them.
Come to this one place, and when we look at the evening program, everyone's going through different things, and the evening program relates to these individuals, and we may not know what this individual is going through, but since it's a judgment-free zone, they can relate to it. And that was kind of me in the same way. NC13, when I was going to Shibir, and I was watching the evening programs, I kind of felt like oh, I'm here just like everyone else. We're all on the same level. I'm here to learn, right? And I'm not being judged at all. And so when I learned that, I was able to go back, and when I'm a Kishore group leader, when I'm a BA group lead, it kind of helps me reach out to those different Badaks and Kishores. It helps me relate to them and make sure, like, hey, we're in this group together. Let's progress together. Let's not just leave someone to the side or leave someone behind just because they're different.
Sure. So I was originally born Jewish. I was born in Israel. We lived in Israel for about 10 years. Then we moved out here. We moved around like Chicago, New York, and then we ended up here in Kansas City. When I first entered satsang, the Kishores were very welcoming. It was honestly very surprising to me because I wasn't expecting that sort of welcomeness. Every time I would come to Mandir, they would all come with me, try to learn more about me, and make me feel more involved, get me into seva, play sports with me, So it was very special to me to feel like to have a second family, because all my family is back in Israel and India. So now we don't really have any family here. So having the family in Mandir is it's really amazing to have that feeling that everyone's around me.
We've all dealt with how can I make outside life and Mandir life one life, We always try to hide things from the outside life and then be one person in Mandir. But for me, like I said earlier, I'm so stubborn. I just want to be me, and I want to be the best of me inside, outside, everywhere I go. So having Mandir be like the backbone for me and wearing it on my sleeve, it just gives me confidence. It makes me happy, because Mandir is really a place where it's all encompassing, it's all inviting. We don't shun people, we don't do anything, we're all inviting. And so I feel great to be able to do the seva, to be able to come here, to be able to meet everyone from different centers that I have so much in common with. I didn't know that until I came here.
The big thing is that everyone has a different background, like a different story of how they got here or how they're going to get here. And the fact that they have that, being a mentor and being someone who's experienced the different sides of it, not having always been here, I understand that sort of angle. I understand where they're coming from. And the fact that not just myself, but other people who might have been here the whole time, the fact that they're also non-judgmental makes it a really cohesive family where people can grow together even though they have different stories.
Now, what's the meaning of moksha? Moksha means a continuous experience of supreme happiness, supreme peace. That's the meaning of moksha. It's a constant connection with God.
The concept of moksha is not something that is something relatable to only boys or only girls. It transcends gender. It hits at one's soul. It's a concept that we all have to digest one way or another, and this format, this messaging allows that to be practical and digestible in a delegate's life.
One of the key stories that's focused on very heavily throughout the convention is the story of Gajendra Moksha. So Gajendra Moksha is this elephant who goes to a riverbank, and his foot is grabbed by a crocodile in the river. And for 1,000 years, there's this constant struggle between Gajendra and the crocodile as Gajendra tries different methods to release himself from the clutches of the crocodile. And he's very unsuccessful with every attempt. But on his kind of final straw, he finds this lotus in the water, and he holds that lotus up, offering his devotion to God. And God sees this bhakti or devotion from Gajendra, and he provides that power to him to release himself from the clutches of the crocodile, so he's freed.
I think the reason why you should connect to someone else's story is truly rooted in that common thread that we share, which is we want to experience this feeling of content. We want to experience this feeling of being okay with the decisions that we've made because they are rooted in something that is purposeful. They're rooted in something that is based on perspectives that have truly been vetted, like the scriptures, or like our guru, like other folks that we respect and know to have those value-based decisions.
If you choose to prioritize moksha, what you can do is start flooding yourself with stories, credible experiences. Now, for us, credible experiences can be moral stories, but the most accessible, credible experience is the experience of the guru, of our guru, who's laid his entire life out to us in a very accessible, transparent way. There's nothing hidden from us about his life. He's an open book. And so studying his life, interacting with him, getting guidance from him is the best source of credible stories that we can possibly get.
After this experience at NC18, I feel like I've started to experience this moksha, and especially today when we had live darshan of Manswami Maharaj, I felt so lucky because I was right next to one of the side screens, and I felt like he was right there in front of me, and all of those smrtis he created for me will leave me with that moksha forever.
Honestly, what makes Mahanswami Maharaj a guru to me is because he's just, everything he does is perfect. Like, I remember when I first met him, it was absolutely amazing. He looked me in the eye and he says, "You're going somewhere." And it meant so much to me, you know, like, because coming from a Jewish background, it's totally different than what everybody would experience here. So he's just a perfect guru because he, like, when he talks to you, like, he understands what you're saying. When he looks at you, he knows if there's pain going on. He just knows perfectly what's going on in your life, and he can totally relate to it, which makes it it makes it amazing. Like, there's someone with you all, like, 24/7.
When I feel like I'm part of my Mandir community, I feel safe. I feel like I'm in my comfort zone. In the same way, my biggest community is God and my Guru, Maharaj and Swami, by my side. And having them two by my side when I'm taking any test or any assignment or going anywhere, knowing that, writing it down somewhere, and knowing that they're always one here, left and right, they're always with me, knowing that I'm not alone, makes it so much easier to go into any type of situations that I'm not used to.
So I think we have this misconception sometimes that we're sacrificing now for some sort of happiness later. And as that doesn't really have traction for a lot of youths, because yes, you know you're working for something later, but then you see all of your friends having fun now and you want to be a part of that. And so what we're trying to show with this convention is that you're not cutting away now for some sort of happiness later, but this idea of following your purpose and being connected to the Guru now and making decisions that it please him now, that has its own happiness with it. This sort of unconditional, stable happiness that they can keep with them for their entire lives.
3 years ago when we started thinking about this convention, what we all did is we sort of made life maps for ourselves, where we put down major decision points in our lives, and they could be external to ourselves. They could be our parents' decisions that sort of led to us being where we are and who we are, right? So our parents coming to America from India, the types of jobs they pursued, their choices about, you know, how to educate us, things like that. All those kinds of things, we sort of put them on a timeline. And for each point on that timeline, we ask ourselves, what was the driving purpose? What was the driving purusharth? Was it dharma? Was it arth? Was it kam? Or was it moksha? And what that allows you to do is in the future, when you're faced with a situation like that again, you realize that you have a choice.
I believe that perhaps the scripts may be different in our own lives, but many a times the scenarios are the same. Perhaps the challenges may be different, but many a times our crises are the same. Perhaps our situations may differ, but the struggles that we face inside within ourselves with our parents, the time that we have to make the choices or the reasons why we have to pray or to do seva. So there are so many differences, and yet there are so many similarities of what is really going on.
Whether it was him accepting our forms of like bhakti or devotion, which our whole mandal decided to make a quilt that we gave to Swami Shri, and so just details like that, and paying attention to like how he accepted everything that we offered him, and then being able to write down all those details so that I can hold on to them, and still to this day, like I can pull up that book and read it, and still it'll take me back and transport me to that specific moment in time because of the amount of details that we had put into our notes.
I think that this convention really focuses on stories, but it's really important to recognize that whether it's your story or whether it's the story of others, there's always something that you can learn. One of the presentations really focused on how you can take someone else's story and internalize those messages and implement them into your own life. And I think that that is really what this message, or what this convention gets at, is how can we take the different experiences of the people around us, the people that we see on the stage, the people that we may not even have interaction with, how can we take those values and find ways to implement them into our lives, find ways to use that as motivation for the decisions that we make.
So I play the role of Adarsh. His character, basically what it boils down to is that he has a desire to be loved. And he first satisfies that through a girlfriend that he has at Mandir named Priya. But eventually she breaks up with him because she feels guilty, and ultimately he finds that the Satpurush is going to love him no matter what, no matter where he is.
So my role is Vivek, and Vivek is a very outcome-oriented character in the story, where he always looks for the end goal in anything he does, whether it's in school, whether it's at Mandir, whether it's doing any extracurriculars. He always wants the outcome of it. And in his life, he's always gone through success. Pretty much, he's never seen failure.
So we take a lot from the dramas, because the dramas are really, they're characters that are going through a lot of experiences that are very similar to the girls, and we do a lot of activities to kind of break down what the characters are doing and look at it from a variety of angles to really connect the topic of eternal happiness to what the delegates are really going through, and connecting that also to what they're seeing on stage and putting it into activities so it's very tangible.
So I know I'll face these same situations, but as Adarsh did it, he put his family first and his satsang first. So I strive to be like Adarsh. But I understand where Vivek's coming from because everyone around him is having a good time while he feels like something that's cool within his friend group at college isn't cool within his satsang community at Mandir.
I really like Anjali because she's always been a great mentor to others, and she's like away from him and great distance between them, but like every time she's always there to help him out and share prasangic stories with him that can always help him get back up. And I really like that because I also have a little sister, so I'd really like to be a mentor to her and really help her out in every situation she's in.
So that's something I really resonate with as well. Like going to college, being that freshman, and now having graduated, I feel like even as I go into grad school, I'm still going to take in that struggle between laziness and procrastination. To see the way that he's able to overcome that is a really big inspiration for myself as well.
So in a lot of different creative ways, we were able to portray that female character in the female voice. So it starts off with the first scene, and one of the male characters, Adarsh, is reading from a journal, and that journal that he's reading from is an entry. And when you see that entry coming to life throughout the rest of the scenes and towards the end of the convention, you find that it was actually Anjali, who's that female character, that has been writing the letters this entire time. She is telling this story.
So basically you start off, it's anger, but it's like you're like, okay, here we go, 2, I see you, 2, can you frame up a little bit, get the wide?
Go, okay, ready? We're gonna start the titles finale. In 3, 2, 1, go. It's done.
So the reason why it's so important to experience moksha now is because if you don't practice it now, it's going to be hard to make those decisions later on in the future. And starting it now allows you to dive into those experiences, dive into Mahant Swami Maharaj's life, and get those values of how to make the practicality of this happiness, this just endless joy that you experience in his presence, to be something that you can experience all the time.
So, as I come to a conclusion with my undergrad years, I'm stepping into a new phase of my life. And while I step into this new phase, I also come across these new experiences. And with these new experiences comes new perspectives. I just want to make sure that while I'm experiencing these new perspectives and new things, I just make the right decision, the right choices. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this convention that I'm looking forward to.
Last program was a mixed emotion, guilty, sad, happy, but guilty mostly in the sense of that I understood that I have made so many mistakes that I don't realize, and that Bapa has just kept on helping me, giving me his hand over and over and over again without me asking for it. He's always there for me.
પણ એની અંદર જો એક સત્પુરુષ છે, આજે પૂજ્ય મહંત સ્વામી મહારાજ, એમને આપણે વળગી રહીએ અને એમની શું મરજી છે, એમનો શું અભિપ્રાય છે, એમને શું ગમે છે, એ જો આપણે પકડીએ અને એ પ્રમાણે આપણે ચાલીએ તો આપણે આપણા જીવનની અંદર સુખી થઈએ છીએ, સફળતા મળે છે અને ક્યારેય પસ્તાવાનો વખત આવતો નથી.
For me, moksha is feeling happiness. Not just happiness through like the stuff that we get from the world, or from our parents, or from work, or whatever it might be. That's there, of course. But feeling happy because of my guru. Just remembering those experiences I've had with them, they touch me. They touch me in a different way. And taking those experiences and having them be able to live every day, and remembering that that's what happiness feels like, that's what moksha means to me.